Broadcasting a new paradigm on the One Network. Hello and welcome to the One People Show for this week. Once again, I'm Lisa Harrison coming to you from Australia. We really do have the multinational crew this week. We've got Brian Kelly coming to you from Bali.
Good morning, everyone. Hello, Lisa.
Hello,
Hey,
Brian.
Biggie.
I know it's 5 a.m. for you, so thanks for getting out of bed again.
I got coffee this week. We're good.
Good, okay. And we've got Dee coming to you from Morocco.
Hello, everyone. Wakey, wakey, Brian.
And some of you may remember, but don't know the face of, Kiri Campbell. Kiri's from New Zealand. We had Kiri on the One People Show and the Collective Imagination Show probably back in 2013. She caused quite a stir, taking on the authorities in New Zealand. Dee, did you participate in some of those calls with Kiri?
Yep. Well, I was on the original call that Kiri had with Heather.
You're really loud, Dee. You're really loud.
I'll talk like this. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Guys, I'm loud and obnoxious. You all know that. Yeah. No. I did the original.
Turn your input down because it's actually distorting you.
Like you're screaming.
Settings. How do I do settings?
5 a.m. here, D. I already got my coffee. Okay, so just
mic volume. Okay, can we go like this? Is that a little better?
It's now you're
might
quiet.
be too much. Somewhere in the middle, baby.
Is that better?
No, now you're a little quiet.
Now I'm too quiet.
Yeah, in the middle.
Well, that was the middle, Brian. Seriously.
Okay, middle, like between high and low, like here.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna have someone go over there and fly over there and crack you in the back of the head.
Okay,
It's
now you can
nice.
speak up and be loud and obnoxious if you're going to leave your volume at that point.
Yes. Okay, I'll just be loud and obnoxious like this. Okay, we're all over it. Okay, I won't be so obnoxious. I promise.
Now, you were saying you were on the original call.
Yeah.
I remember that now.
When the story broke, I was with Heather when Kiri told us the whole kit and caboodle story of it all. It was
okay. Sorry, Dee. Now Biggie's saying he can't hear you, so he needs to be able to hear you. So turn it back up again.
No.
Technical difficulties, live TV.
Yeah, I know. If I can just get my mouse to work. Hey, okay. Is that better, Biggie? Can you hear me now? Biggie, can you hear me now?
A little more. A little more.
Seriously? Okay.
Is this your first time using a computer?
Okay. I am now on maximum. That's maxed out.
Yeah, you are. Okay.
Wow.
Go for it. Yes, you were on the original call between Heather and Kiri. There was a few of us on that one.
Yeah.
When Kiri was coming out and telling us exactly what's been going on in New Zealand and how she'd been utilising the filings.
Yep.
It's been a long time since then.
Yeah.
Much has gone down for both us and Kiri and New Zealand. So I'm just checking on the chat room. What do I click on? Read Kiri Campbell. Okay. Well, there's a few of you in the chat room who are well aware of Kiri and remember her very well and fondly.
Kiri draws the crowd.
Yeah. So, Kiri, tell us what's been going on, love. Give us an update.
So, for the last, pretty much since October 2013, I dealt with I had my sentencing date, and anyone that was at the sentencing date was there to actually hear the words from Judge Roberts' mouth to say, Miss Campbell, I received your letters, thank you. which told me that he accepted my offer in the private. And we had the prosecutors at sentencing date trying to throw me in jail and give me, 5 years minimum per charge, 10 years maximum, which the judge shut them all down.
What were the final charges, though? Because
what was the final charge?
Yeah, I was never charged. I was never charged for the 15 million, nor was I charged for any of the 65,000. Because what I did after I deposited the 15 million, I'd actually been going around to all these businesses and talking to them about the foreclosures and showing them where exactly we can now trade and exchange in our private capacity. So at that point, it took me I was sort of working in conjunction with the 15 million and convincing these businesses that, listen, we can do this. And one of the guys that I brought a car from, I said to him, look, Gordon, if it doesn't work, I'll give the car back to you. Now, he came back to me a week and a half later and offered me a second vehicle. So the paper made me out to be like some criminal that just went around deceiving these businesses. But in Hawera, they're all related. So one of the guys that owned the car yard, he's actually he's a volunteer police officer. They call them friendly police officers of the community. And the police had said to them, we don't give a what was said and done. You will say this. So they had to label me the Osama bin Laden or the baddie, the boogeyman, in order to deter enough people away from me. And I'll tell you what, it probably had the opposite effect because my friends list just boomed on Facebook. Now, there was a lot of people that were anti Kiri Campbell and her stand against government, but a lot of those people, I've actually been travelling around New Zealand speaking with hapu, which is, and maraes and communities, and sharing my part of it and then showing my evidence. And with that, what's happened is these people who once thought that I acted fraudulently have now come to the understanding that, oh, hold up, something's not right about the story that the paper has brought out. So the way that we set it up in a way so that every time the media did something, acted in a fraudulent manner themselves, it would be highlighted. So we even did a little ceremony and did a karakia to ensure that the pathway was clear so that if there were any fraudulent stories brought out by the media and whatnot in the government, that all of that would have been exposed because now our information was online. They'd put the stories online by the mainstream media, but it was up to people to now read between the lines and weigh up the pros and cons of the story.
Hey, Kiri,
yeah.
For anybody that wasn't privy to that story, can you give just like a really quick recap of what happened, what you did, and what they tried to say you did, and what actually happened to kind of bring people up to speed that weren't there for that?
Absolutely. So once I found out about the foreclosures, I then wrote to my government and I posed some serious questions to them. And I wrote to the entire executive cabinet as well as the entire national cabinet. And I asked some questions in regards to the foreclosures. Were they foreclosed? Were they a corporation hiding under the guise of a People's Parliament? And still to this very day, those notices stand undisputed. So what I did was I took their own law and pitched it against them to be able to defend my actions. Now, under the Crimes Act 1961, in order to be charged under that act, you needed to have done it dishonestly and without claim of right. Now, I had a claim of right because I had written to the government and give them 30 days notice. I wrote to the TSB Bank and gave them notice. And when they didn't dispute, I then wrote to them again and said, right, this is what's going to happen. So that was my claim of right. And then I used what was called 2.6 of the district court rules that stated any notice undisputed stands as evidence against them as well. So in that instance, I was arrested. I was held in a container in New Plymouth. I appeared at the New Plymouth courthouse on the Saturday, where I challenged the judge because he said, Miss Campbell, you didn't have any money. And I said, well, that depends. What do you consider money? Because there's multiple forms of money. There's There's EFTs, which is money. There's checkbook money. There's gift cards, that's money. The coins in my pocket is money. The cash in my pocket is money. So what money are you referring to? Because I certainly had credit available. And at that point, he just ordered for the guards to rip me out of the dock and drag me back to that container that they held me in New Plymouth. And I was held there till the Tuesday, which I was delivered from New Plymouth to Hawera on the Tuesday, and I didn't even make it to the stand. So I was actually abducted by 3 Black Ops officers and 3 Hawera police station officers. I was abducted out of the cell before I even got a chance to make it to the stand. Yet the paper had said that I had pleaded guilty. So I then challenged the paper and say, how did I plead guilty when I didn't even make it to the stand to be able to have my case heard? And we know why I didn't make it to the stand was because they knew that they were going to charge me under the Crimes Act 1961, and they knew they couldn't charge me under that because I did have claim of right and I didn't do anything dishonestly because I wrote to everyone, I informed them. I had gone and negotiated with these businesses over a period of a month to say, hey, listen, here's the reports, here's the paradigm bulletin. These notices are being served on our government right now. And not only that, I found the act under GAP, which is the General Accepted Accounting Principles. I found the act that stated that if a business has gone and given has already released the services or the products, the bank held the obligation. So on that point, Gordon said, I said, look, Gordon, the bank's they've got to honour it because here's the act. And so at that point, Gordon says, okay, Kiri, we're going to give it a go. I says, well, I guarantee you, Gordon, that if it doesn't go through, I'll give the stuff back to you, I promise. And like I said to you, within about a week later, because he would have known whether the cheque had bounced or not. It would have bounced within 3 days. Now, in a week and a half later, they came back and offered me a second vehicle. Now, how it all came unstuck for me was I went to Colton's car yard and did the same thing. Now, I'd been talking with them for a while. And I went into him and I said, Phil, you can contact Gordon, who's from Egmont Autos, and he will let you know that he's done the transaction with me, just so that you can get some assurance that, this is legitimate. And he said to me, Kiri, I believe everything you're saying because what the Māori people in New Zealand don't know is that they actually do own this land and that the New Zealand government and the Crown have no authority over this land. He says, so I'm gonna go with it. So I gave him some specific instructions, and the instructions were, do not cash the cheque. It is for EFT only, EFT transfers. Now, how it came unstuck for me was now Colton's car yard now exposed their own fraudulent activities because they were putting cars on their lot and then taking the cheques that were made out to the company down to their friend at the bank and then cashing them over the counter. So that's exactly what they did with my instrument. They took it. It was the son's truck, and they took the cheque, went down to the bank, and the friend at the bank said, oh, no, this account's closed. It's not a real cheque. And so at that point, they became alarmed. They called the police. I had the police come after me. Now, all the details that I put on when I filled out the applications for the car were all my correct details. So if I was trying to con anyone, I'm almost certain that I wouldn't have put my actual details. So we had police show up. We had the owners of the car show up and they try to rip me out of the truck. And I pretty much said to him, piss off, what are you doing? And he says, the cheque is a fake and it didn't work. And I said, what do you mean? I said, you were supposed to deposit it. It's not to be cashed for cash. You were supposed to deposit it. It was EFT funds only and it was credits. And he says, oh, I don't know. I said, well, and he begged me to give him another cheque. And at that point, I just said, piss off. You've done the wrong thing. Not only have you brought this whole operation down, but you've exposed your own fraudulent activities because you were skimming your own business and deleting those cars off your car lot to be able to go and cash the cheques in to be able to pocket the money themselves. So that's how it all came unstuck for me. But in saying that, it didn't affect me because I had still followed due process. I'd still given notice to the government. I still had a claim of right. And I still didn't do anything dishonestly, therefore could not have been charged under that act at all. And that information is available on our legislation website. You just look up 2.6 of the District Court rules and all the information's there. You look up claim of right, you look up the Crimes Act 1961 and all the information is there to validate exactly what I'm saying. So I'm saying don't listen to what I'm saying, go and do your research and go and have a look. And then what happened after that, I was being attacked big time. We had police officers showing up at my house at 6 o'clock in the morning. Now, obviously, because they didn't get me, put me in jail and the judge shut the prosecutors down, the powers that weren't very happy with that at all. So they then decided to make my life very miserable in Hawera. They would send police officers to my home with technicians to rip out my gas regulator, take my power out of the house. They then showed up with sifts and all sorts to try and take all my children off me. They were also colluding with one another. So sifts in Hawera, probation in Hawera was colluding with the Hawera police station, the Stratford police station, and the Crown lawyers, because I've got affidavits to prove it, that they were trying to now find something against Campbell to take me out and have me charged. And they were unsuccessful. In all attempts, they were unsuccessful. And I just smashed them out of the ballpark every step of the way. I was even taken to court by the chief executive of the Ministry of Social Development, where he tried to take my daughter. This is Eden, who started this whole thing. She was born with the rare kidney condition, and it was through that I was able to assert my rights and investigate and research how I could defend my daughter. So they gave me 1 hour to make it from Hawera to New Plymouth, which is a 1 hour drive, to defend my daughter. And what they did was they had police sitting a couple of minutes down the road from my house, waiting for the phone call from the courts to say, go and get that girl and rock in there with all force. And like I said, I've got all the affidavits to prove it. So what I did was I got on the phone, I rang the New Plymouth courthouse, and I said to that registrar, I says, you don't get me through to that court hearing, I'll tell you what, I'll come up there personally and I'll see you in a civil court of law, and it's you and I, buddy. You ain't got nothing to hide behind anymore. I'm going to take you out in your private capacity for causing mishap, harm, damages, all those sorts of things. And he's like, oh, yeah, no, I'll transfer you. Because they were making it really difficult for me to be able to get in there and rebut these allegations that the Ministry of Social Development were making against me, which were all false. They were just colluding with one another to punish me because of the fact that I withstood all of their attacks and walked out shiny and sparkly and all of the above. So at that court hearing, what they did is they took one of my notices and they used that as evidence against me, as that I was non-compliant. And so I said to the judge, sir, is it not true that according to 2.6 of your district court rules, it states in there that any notice undisputed stands as evidence? And he says, yes, it is. And I says, oh, great. Well, the proof that they've used, that they've attached to their case to prove that I'm non-compliant, is actually the letter that still stands undisputed to this very day. So can I please ask another question? How is it that an organisation that is foreclosed bring a charge against a living being when they're currently in default? And he said, oh, no, you're right. So he turned around and he said to the Ministry of Social Development lawyer, the child for lawyer, sorry, guys, go back to the drawing board and think again. So at that point, I walked away with my daughter. And I went, yeah, take that and rewind it back. And it was quite a celebration. Now, 5 minutes after that court hearing over the phone, we had it's sort of like, I can't remember the name, it's Tūtama Wahine. Tūtama Wahine is an organisation that basically takes your children off you. I don't care that they say that they provide services. They're a Māori organisation that is no different to Child, Youth and Family. So within 5 minutes after that interview, they showed up on my doorstep to remove my two older daughters because they threatened me because they weren't at school. And I'll tell you what, I sat that woman down and I gave her a lesson and a half. And before you knew it, she got up, she stormed out of my property. And actually she said to me, you listen here. We didn't come here to listen to that. We came here for those daughters. And I says, you listen here. You're on my property, my turf, my rules. Got that? I says, and if you don't like it, there's the gate. So she got up, she stormed off. Now her colleague just sat there. He was an Indian man and he was just astonished. He was like, oh my word. He says, you know, you are such an inspiration to us. He says, I'm saying this to you now while she's not here, but you're an inspiration. And he says, if there's anything I can do for you to assist you, please just let me know. And I says, well, I'll tell you what, I'll make an agreement with you that if there's anything that I can give you to keep you guys off my back while I put these things together, then you got it. You got whatever you need. So we had an agreement right there and then because he believed in what I was standing for. And to me, that was amazing. So after that, child youth, after that attack, the Howard probation then decided to come and attack my children's father. So what they did was they created a false charge and arrested him, and they said, oh, you never attended your community service back in 2010, which was 3 years prior to the 2013. And he says, no, like we argued it, well, we challenged it. And at that point, they didn't want to hear anything. So what they did was they gave him community service. Now, when he rang up to be picked up from the van, because they have what they call a PD van, and it's to come and pick you up to take you to go and do your community service. Well, Howard probation refused to allow him on that van. Everyone else was allowed on that van except for my children's father, Adam. And so at that point, they used that to be able to breach him to give him 5 weeks jail. So he was locked up for 5 weeks because they had gone and colluded with one another to create these false charges and allegations against him. But in saying that, he did say it's okay because he would rather he go to jail and do the time for whatever they need to satisfy themselves with than to have me go. So at that point, I had to flee Hawera because now they were looking at trying to find anything and everything, even if they had to make it up, to take me out, to take my children out. And that is what they're doing. That's what government systems are designed to do. They're designed to sever families and destroy them. And we were just lucky enough. Hang on.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
yeah.
We were just lucky enough to be able to withstand all of that. And in the end, I had to call a good friend of mine who was based up in Northland. And I just said to him, please, can you come and get myself and the children because we're under threat here. And we did. So we moved up to the lovely sunny Bay of Islands, and it's paradise up here. It's absolute paradise. I'll tell you what, the people there are awake, they're aware, and they're ready to rock and roll. So what have we done since?
Hang on, guys. I just need to make a little announcement. Something very strange has happened to my Zoom account.
Yeah.
Biggie, I hope you're listening. And where the stream's going to be interrupted, so we will have to, it's going to happen a couple of times actually over the course of the broadcast. So you will lose the live stream for a minute, and we'll kick it back in again.
Okay, Lisa, make Biggie host.
I don't think that'll matter. For some reason, it's not acknowledging my account as a pro account anymore.
Biggie's saying make him host and there's no more issue.
You sure? Okay. I will try that.
And speaking of weirdness, my Zoom has just gone completely bonkers. What the heck has just happened?
Kiri, before you get into the next part,
yeah,
I just want to say what I told you privately the other day, again here live, which is you are my freaking hero.
Thank you for it.
Unbelievable.
Someone
story.
had to in New Zealand.
So if we may have fixed the issue. If we haven't, we will, like I said, lose the live stream for a couple of seconds, but we'll come back in.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm not going anywhere.
We also have a caller, but we want to get to that. Caller, we will hold on to you until we know that we're not going to lose you mid chat, and let Kiri finish her story.
Yeah.
So keep going, Kiri.
So here in New Zealand, we took the principles of the OPPT, which talked about the CVAC and the redistribution of the world's wealth back to the people. Now, for a moment there, we were sort of waiting for it. We were waiting for the CVAC to appear. And then I realized, oh, man, we have to create it. It's the people that have to create this. So that's what we did. We created, I've spent the last 18 months working on creating the first CVAC here in New Zealand to redistribute the wealth back to our people. And we do that through our credit exchange system. So credit exchange is an exciting new platform. It's We've got a buy and sell network on there, so now members can buy, sell, trade and exchange with one another. Have we lost our...
No, we've still got you.
Okay. Yeah. So we can buy, sell, trade and exchange with one another, but it's more than just a trading platform. It's also got a banking system attached to it. And when I say a banking system, I mean a full banking system, where now members can come and apply for credit through the same principles of that the OPPT delivered in 2013, which means we will exchange people's value for credit and monetize it. And not only can we monetize it, but we can now apply it to a payment card. And because we're registered with Paymark EFTPOS, our members can now take their card and swipe it in any Paymark EFTPOS machine, provided the business becomes a member. So at the moment, that's been causing a massive stir here in New Zealand. A lot of people saying, oh, nah, it's too good to be true. And we understand all that too good to be true stuff. But if you go and do your homework like we have, you'll see, our government system is corrupt. It is fraudulent. Actually, here in New Zealand, they're operating without a constitution. Now, the Queen Elizabeth actually wrote the Elizabeth Treaty with and informed New Zealand and basically revoked the crown from our country, which means there is no crown here. And so I've got access to all of that information. I've been put in contact with so many people that have a lot of knowledge and that are quite high up in that rank and in that chain of authority. And they've provided me with all the tools and all the information to be able to prove 100% that here in New Zealand there is no crown. The crown is operating insolvent, bankrupt, and illegally. Not only that, hence the reason why John Key, our Prime Minister, is rushing off to create this new flag, because he's trying to reconstitute us and he's trying to domicile us again by putting us in another country. Now, what he did was he took all of our birth certificates and he took them over to Ireland. And in Ireland, when the Pope heard about it, the Pope went to Ireland and took those birth certificates back. And now at the moment, Sir Jerry Mataparai, who is the Governor General and the Sovereign Representative of New Zealand, has actually been summoned to Rome and to have a meeting with the Pope, because he is going to get an ass whooping. Excuse my language, but he's going to get told that he's basically being served by the Pope. So our people can actually look forward to all of this playing out. Now, our media have been doing a great job covering all of this up. But I'm saying to our people of New Zealand and Aotearoa that if you go and do your homework, and for me, I go and track government websites, so I find out what's government doing, and that's the best way to find out what's really going on. I don't listen to anything in the media, because the media are designed propagandists. They're designed to use words that are neither here nor there, so to create the assumption or the belief that it's something that it isn't. And that's exactly what's happened with our credit exchange system. So we launched on the 6th of February, which is our Waitangi Day, which was the day that the treaty was signed here in New Zealand. We launched our credit exchange down at Waitangi. And I'll tell you what, before we even opened at 8 o'clock in the morning, there were massive crowd swells, and people had travelled from all over the country to come and see if this credit exchange was real and legitimate. And when they got there, and we explained to them, about our internal value. And, a lot of people say, oh, that's all airy-fairy stuff. To a point it is, but I like to put it like this. I say to people, well, our system is not based on debt. In fact, we have an anti-debt policy. It's based on your intrinsic value as a consumer. And I says, and as a consumer, it makes you valuable. And I'll give you an example. How good is that car, or how good is that bread, or how good is that product without the human behind it backing it, giving it the value? It has no value. So the car doesn't move. Therefore, anyone producing these products, they have no value until the human gets behind it to back it. And that is what we refer to as your intrinsic value as a consumer. Because in this capitalist society, they've made it the opposite. They've gone and said, oh, yep, you need to have some sort of commodity, Kiri. And I said, you are the commodity, for goodness sakes. And they says, no, it's got to be petrol or oil or water or gold or sapphires or rubies. And I said, that's rubbish. And I says, and even if you wanted to use that, you could do that. You only needed to get a land valuation to come in and evaluate the value of the whole 66 million acres to be able to create the value and to give you your underwriting. And they were just sort of like, oh, wow. So we've just really ripped open their minds. But what we're doing is we're slowly waking people up through the action of being and doing. So as they be and do in the system, they'll actually be unplugging themselves from that matrix, and it'll actually literally feel like a popping from the spine all the way up to the neck. There'll be a popping sensation, and when you feel that, what's going to happen is you're actually elevating yourself to the next. Well, you're elevating your consciousness, and you're activating yourself. And so the way we designed it was it's a living system, and it's a system that will activate you and wake you up as you go about being and doing. So it doesn't require anyone to try and convince or sell or prove. We say, okay, we accept your challenge that you think that we're a scam. Now prove it by using it. There's nothing to lose. It's free to join. It's free to trade. We don't capitalize on your trading. So now you can trade and exchange with one another privately. We've got real-time transaction processing, which means the moment you send the funds, they get them instantly. We've also got massive technology. So one of the technologies is our payment cards. We have an individual payment card, which is our blue card. We have a business payment card, which is our black card. And we have an organisation payment card, which is our gold card. And now we also have a mobile app. And we also have our own FPOS readers. So now we say to businesses, listen, we can save you thousands of dollars a year, because now you don't have to pay these FPOS fees. You can come and purchase our reader for $150 plus GST, and all your transactions are completely free. We're not going to capitalize on that. You can now transfer credits.
Okay, thanks, Biggie. Okay, we do apologize if you're watching at either CCN or lisamharrison.com. Just refresh the page and it should come back on. And I'll just put the instructions in there. And we're back. I can't hear you, Biggie. Apparently you're talking, but I can't hear you.
Kiri is on it. Holy cow.
Man, talk about some serious doing over the last 18 months.
Holy cow, man. That girl's got some energy.
Hello, darling.
Hello.
Well, that was fun.
And that's not going to be the first time that happens, unfortunately, during the show. So
It'll happen 3 times.
Why don't we use Biggie's ID then?
We will next time.
Okay.
So Biggie, if you're hearing me, when that happens again, can we use yours and you send me the link? It'll just mean that people won't be able to call in.
Oh, that's right.
They can chat in their questions though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's Kiri gone?
Did she get the link?
Yeah.
I'm having serious issues. It's like everything, my system is crashing at the moment. So just give me a moment, guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying to shut down everything I can.
I want to know how she's pulled all this off.
Yeah, me too. And I'm sure everybody listening does too.
Oh, yes. Well, I have some questions for her about some interesting shit that just came up.
And I do believe we're in a... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Just because she mentioned the Pope, and I was like, oh, really? Okay. I'm chasing down a rabbit hole at the moment, so the fact that she brought that up, I may have to talk to her.
Do we need to Do we need to shut down and click on this new link from Biggie now, or is that the next one for the next?
No, that'll be for next time.
Oh, there's Kiri.
I was going to say, if we're waiting for Kiri, why don't we?
No, she's back.
I'm here.
Oh, okay, good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry,
So we were talking about the readers, the EFTPOS readers. So we've set up tools and technologies so that now you can transfer credits through mobile to mobile by touching it. You can now use one of the cards to be able to swipe in any Paymark EFTPOS machine. You can also use the QR code card on the back, which you can use to tap on our own EFTPOS readers. Or let's say you left the card at home, download our mobile app, and you can now get your mobile and tap it on the screen. So at the moment, we're going to be holding business dinners right across the country to invite all the businesses on board and to explain to them how it all works. I was very strategic about the way I set this whole thing up because I didn't just want anyone setting this up for me. So what I did was I went and looked for all the companies with integrity, and now the company that I got on board was Evolution Barter Software.
Yeah.
And the web company. Now these companies are they've got a massive reputation. They actually design systems and software for the likes of Westpac and ANZ and CAT. But not only that, they're an award-winning company as well. So I employed them to be able to come and design all of these services for me. And now we're ready to roll out with the credit exchange. So that's a personal card.
Can you hold it closer, Kiri, so we can see the front of it?
Oh,
it's
hang
a
on.
legitimate card. It's upside down. Look at that. Oh my God. You
and
are
it's got
awesome.
its own, and I'll tell you what, here's the report that came back from that's the little QR code. So you can do swipe through EFTPOS, or you can do our own EFTPOS. So here's the report that came back from our developers. They said, Kiri, you currently hold the most powerful card on this planet at the moment. He says, your technology is so advanced and you are well ahead of the banks, it's not funny. So what we did was we decided to create the same services that were being offered to our people on that side and bring them on this side, but do a better job. And it removed the debt completely. Now, how do we remove the debt? Really easily, through the same principles that the OPPT set up. So I'll give you an example, Brian. You come into the credit exchange or call up a mobile branch manager and you say, oh, listen, I'd like to apply for a $10,000 credit boost. So what the mobile branch manager will do, she'll create the $10,000 using the software, the same software the banks use. Then she'll create a 10% fee on top of that. And then she will distribute the $10,000 to your card, and she will take the 10% fee as a commission. And that's it. No repayments, no lingering debt, no nothing, no interest. It's just a complete exchange.
So hang on. Now let's just hang on. I need to be able to say this, right? Are you saying that the 5+5 bill that was mentioned in the OPPT filings, that you've actually found a way to access it, and people are doing so, and they're using it, because I cannot tell you how many times I've heard, where's my 5 billion? So, I don't know what to say to that.
Really quick. Let me just add one. Let me add one to that. How did you talk this bank into getting behind this? I want to know how that conversation went down.
Well, I don't think they've got a bank behind them, have they?
No, we haven't got a bank. We are the bank. Actually, we're considered under the Reserve Bank Act of New Zealand. We are actually considered a non-bank. Now, for any of those that are interested, you can actually go to the website. Oh, sorry. You can actually go to the Reserve Bank website here in New Zealand and you can look it up. Actually, what I might do is I might just pull it up so I can read it, because it's really, really great read. Hang on a minute.
Yeah, if you can do the screen share and show everyone, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
If you go to, hang on, where would you do that? Biggie, I need instructions. How does Kiri share her screen?
She should have the same share screen. Bottom middle.
Oh yeah. Okay, Kiri, down the bottom, you can see a green. It says it's in green. It says share screen.
Share
if
screen.
you do that, we will see your computer screen.
Yeah. Give me a second, guys. I'll just I'll pull it up.
This is
who's making your little cards? You just had those made?
My software team that I employed does the whole thing for me. It's a complete banking system and trading platform. Right, share screen. Don't know which one to click on. Is it this one?
Next stop, New Zealand. I think our little road trip is in.
Can you see my screen?
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming up.
There
Yeah,
it
got
is.
it.
Now we can see it. What is money?
Give me a second. I'll just click on the actual link, so you can see my screen.
Yep. It's loading the page right now.
And if you can just Skype me or send in the chat room the link to this page, I will put it in the chat room.
Absolutely.
Well,
so
Biggie, if you can even just type it into the chat box here below, Kiri, to Biggie, then Biggie can put it up on the screen on the live feed.
Okay.
You notice I just volunteered Biggie's service. Sorry,
Yeah,
Biggie.
I noticed that.
How do I get back to that chat? Oh, okay, right, got it. There's the link right there.
Awesome.
Now, I just want to read this out because this is super important. Does the Reserve Bank regulate Bitcoin? A, the answer, no. The Reserve Bank of New Zealand Act prohibits the issuance of banknotes and coins by any other party than the Reserve Bank. However, the Reserve Bank has no direct power over any form of alternative payments medium. Non-banks, which is what the credit exchanges, do not need our approval for schemes that involve the storage and or transfer of values such as Bitcoin. Well, credits is exactly the same as Bitcoin, so long as they do not involve the issuance of physical circulating currency, notes and coins. So therefore, credit exchange actually falls under a non-bank scheme, which they say it right there. Non-banks do not need our approval for schemes. So this system is legitimate, it is legal, and the banks, the Reserve Bank has no authority over it whatsoever. And anyone interested can go to the Reserve Bank and read that for themselves. So they know I'm just not making it up out of thin air.
Wow. Oh my gosh. This is a big story.
Yes, it is.
Is this in a write-up somewhere? Because this needs to go out in form of articles too.
Yes, it does. Well, our website is active, www.credit exchange. So exchange without the E.
Do you have that up? Can you pull that up?
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll drop it in the chat.
Yes, please.
Now we only just launched it, so as the days progress, you'll see all the changes that are going to be taking place with the information that's available there.
Okay, Kiri. So I take it you've had interest from people all around the world.
Yeah,
on this one. And
we certainly have.
How does it translate to other countries?
Easily, very easy. What I've done is I've taken a platform that can go international. So once we've set the blueprint here in New Zealand, we copy it and we bring it to Australia. We take it to Bali, wherever it needs to go. Our intentions are to give it out to all the Indigenous nations so that they now have a trading platform to be able to trade off without having to go through that mainstream one, and also to be able to give it to every community, and not for the likes of myself or my team to come in and regulate them, but for what we'll do is we'll bring a promo team to your community, teach you how the technologies work, and you manage it yourself. It is basically that community's form of income. So what we've now done is we've been able to, through the system, take the local governance out of a centralized system and give it back to communities.
Phenomenal.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a big job.
You've been busy.
Like I said to you the other day, Brian, I was just determined to see the job finished, because a lot of people got hope when the OPPT came out. There was a lot of hope instilled and a lot of faith. And I didn't want to see all of that going to waste because of a few people. The majority of people want it. The majority of people that don't, they're only the 1%. The 99% want the change. So what like I said to you, we're setting up business dinners right across the country to invite businesses to come in and listen and allow us the opportunity to prove that these systems are legitimate, they are legal, and that they do work, and it will boost their businesses exponentially. Now it means that businesses no longer have to rely on banks, especially when they're looking at expanding their business. So every time a business wants to expand, generally they can't because they have to determine on a false credit criteria stipulated by the banks, where in reality we know for a fact that the banks never had any money to loan in the first place. And which brings me to another point. The Reserve Bank Act stated, the Reserve Bank website said that banks are allowed to, through quantitative easing and fractional reserve lending, they are allowed to take 10% of your money. So, which means if I deposited $100 into the bank, that bank is allowed to take 10% of that, and then through fractional reserve lending, they're allowed to loan that amount out up to 9 times and hypothecate on that. But I posed the question to the Reserve Bank and I said, well, if that's the truth, then how come I don't see the 10% leaving my account? So that sort of put them in their tracks, and they didn't have a response for that. So we just blew that sort of that theory out the window, because if what they were saying was true, then 10% of my money should be going missing every time, or should be getting transferred out to the bank's account, to prove without a doubt that they are actually taking the money from us, and the money that they're taking from us is what they're actually lending out. So when I put $100 in the bank, there's always $100 in the bank, and I don't see any 10% being taken out whatsoever.
Yep. Let me ask you a question, Kiri, because here's what people are going to start asking if we were able to bring callers in. Let's talk about like the big picture, like logistical, how this works, right? Because that's what everybody is going to want to know. Okay, how's this work? How can I bring this to my area? Now you're going around and you're doing meetings with businesses to get them involved. So essentially the way that it works for them is you explain to them the system. You explain to them that it's all digital currency. You explain that customers are going to have this card, that they're going to come to their stores, they're going to shop as usual. The cryptocurrency, for lack of a better word, is going to exchange into their account just like it normally would. And they're going to then turn around and use that like they normally would, except they're not going to cash it out. They're going to use it to pay their employees with. They're going to use it to buy their goods with, to contract their services, and basically it's going to be business as usual, so long as the whole picture comes to life when everybody that they are used to exchanging with anyways are also part of this system. So that nothing else really changes in that regard, other than the fact that they're not cashing anything out of the bank. Yeah,
correct.
This is exactly the same as we talked through way back in the day. This is how when we all sort of had these conversations around how this would work and how we would approach these businesses. You've actually pulled it off. Yeah. Exactly as discussed. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So you've already got at least
a really specific time to do it, because we don't muck around.
Yeah, I know you don't. You've already got one volunteer in the chat room who wants to be a contact point for their community. I don't know where their community is, but
yay! Because that's all that needs to happen. We will give these tools and technologies out, and because this system has the capabilities of becoming international very easily, it just means that everyone in their communities, no matter what country they're in, they just need to make contact with someone from our team, and we'll actually send a team over there to help them set up, to train them and to teach them how it all works. And all we're doing is we're taking the blueprint from New Zealand and we're dropping it all over the world, basically. So it's really, really easy.
Kiri, if you can get this, if you can show, let me use the example because I remember Lisa triggered a memory from way back when. We used the example of a grocery store. If you can get this, if you can show that this model works in one small little village, where you take the grocery store, you take all their customers, you get them in on it, you take all their vendors and all their suppliers, you get them on it, and you basically you get it to work within that small little network where you're showing transfers and debits and purchases and all that stuff going back and forth, and everybody happy and everybody winning. Then this is a model that you can boom, 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 like firecrackers, get it to explode everywhere.
My software developer, the director of the company, said to me, Kitty, he says, provided your rebuttal, because the media has already launched an attack on us and they've called us a scam. And he says, provided your rebuttal is sound, which I know it is, he says, you're going to go nationwide very quickly. So this is what we're doing this week. We've actually been, and because we want to dispel this article that's come out about us saying that the credit exchange is nothing but a scam. And we've now invited in, so we've put up $5,000 worth of credit, and we've now invited businesses in to say, right, okay, come and allow us to come in and put the systems in so you can now test them so we can prove without a doubt that this works. So what we're going to do is we're going to rock in there with our film crew and just grab random customers that are coming in and allow them to do the swipe. And we're going to have that whole thing recorded with our film crew, which we will drop on our Credit Exchange Facebook page for all the world to see that this is no scam. It may sound too good to be true, but that's only because our people are only used to, they're used to that stereotypical kind of phrase. But I know for a fact, when people actually see the swipe, they won't care about anything else. The proof is in the pudding. So we are going to be doing those swipes this week and rocking in there with our camera crew to be able to record the whole thing so people can actually see a live demonstration of how this actually works. Not only that, it'll give business an opportunity to be able to get involved with it as well, to be able to do the testing, and it's going to give them some massive exposure and advertising, which means those businesses that come along, they are the ones where our members are going to go and start shopping. And those ones that decided not to join, well, sooner or later, they're either going to join or they're going to fall off because the business won't get that business anymore. Because I'll tell you what, once everyone figures out what the credit exchange is all about, they ain't going to go running back to their banks. They're going to jump ship faster than you can blink, and they're going to be rocking the credit exchange. So where does that leave all those businesses that decided not to go with it? It leaves them either down the Googler or it makes them repurpose. So this is also the repurposing of all these entities that have been creating this big mess that we're in.
Okay, so everybody along the process, whether it's your software developer, the company that created the cards, everybody that's been involved in this has obviously been educated along the way.
Yeah.
And I assume they're also choosing to participate along the way.
Yes, they are.
So can you give me any indication of numbers in terms of the number of businesses that individuals can start working with?
At the moment, we've some of the ones that we've invited to the business dinner is the likes of New Worlds, Bunnings. We've been running the system in the private, so we've been trading and exchanging privately on a demo site to test it. And within the first 2 weeks, we signed up 300 members. Currently existing in there at the moment, we have 800 members currently in the system. And there's multiple businesses in there already. There's IT, there's retreats, there's builders, there's labourers, and everyone's in there all ready to trade and exchange with one another. But our focus for the business dinners is to get those major retailers on board so that they too can benefit. Because if we look,
that's where it really takes off. You get one of these huge multinationals like a Coles or a Woolworths or one of these major departments.
We only need one to count the way.
Yeah.
Because when they see that one, they'll all come.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where everybody will start shopping.
So exactly what you said, Brian, that's exactly what we've done. We didn't, we set it up in the Northland, and we're running it here in the Northland, up in Kaikohe. Kaikohe is a little town. And we spread out from Kaikohe right up to the top of the North Island, and we've just been practicing it in a little small community and demonstrating the systems to basically provide the way for other people to be encouraged to be able to come along.
Okay, let me take a second here because this show is going to go viral. It's going to get out there.
You should be used to that by now, Brian.
What I want to do is, well, first of all, when I share it, I'm going to share some background links so that people can understand context for what it is that you've created here.
Yeah.
Essentially, what you've done is you created a system that gives people access to the inherent value that we were born with at birth. What people may or may not be aware of is that our birth certificates have been monetized by the Federal Reserve and the Bank of International Settlements and the International Monetary Fund, basically hijacking the value that we are intrinsically, inherently born with as natural beings. They've created citizens or strawmen out of us, and basically have created a system around banking that leads us to believe that we have to work to earn a living, when in fact we have all of the rights to abundance and prosperity from birth that has been stolen from us. And essentially what the credit exchange system has done, it has taken all of that bullshit that has come between us and our God-given rights that we were given as natural born souls on planet Earth, and has taken all of that out of the mix and given us back access to this intrinsic value. And that way we can go about our lives living free, in abundance, in prosperity, in harmony with one another, and we don't need their tools anymore. And it's essentially taken all the tools out of it. So that's kind of a little bit of a background, and I realized it probably could have been better than that. But essentially that's what you've done, yeah?
Yes, exactly. But we've done more than just provide this trading platform and a banking platform. What we've also identified is that there's a lot of, there's a big mess to clean up. So now we've also included what we call the exchange centres, which is our social services. So now, you know, it's not about dishing out free money or anything of the sort. I want to dispel that myth right now. It's about giving people a hand up, putting basic necessities back in their cupboards so that they can live comfortably, so they can take the struggle out of life and now step into their creator roles. And with the exchange centres, they can now come into an exchange centre within their community, and they can identify what their barriers are. They can identify a contingency plan to alleviate those barriers. They can also identify what motivates them and now take the steps necessary to be able to achieve those goals. So now we're taking members of the community that effectively were sort of lingering and not really being contributing members to the community, taking them out of that struggle so that they can now contribute back to their community and add value to it. So now what that means is that you can now increase your value as you go about being and doing and offering value back to your community. So it's not just handing out free money. That's a downright lie. It's
not just about giving everybody $5 billion. Credit.
No.
Let me.
There's a way you need to do it, because just dishing out $5 billion to people would cause chaos. So it had to be put into a system where it was slowly fed back to the people, so that they could eventually get a house, get a car, put furniture in that house, have food in their cupboards, and know that there's still credits in the bank to be able to go out, start their own business. Maybe they want to retire and just look after the mokopuna. Here in New Zealand, we can now offer this service to the maraes. Now, our maraes have sort of been pushed to the background, which means our hapu, which is the whānaus that are connected to those maraes, have suffered greatly.
You're going to have to translate some of these words for us, Kiri.
Yeah.
For the North Americans and the Europeans, you will have to translate a few of them.
Yeah. So hapu is just the your family, or the family is connected to that marae, and the marae is like our meeting. It's a Māori term for a meeting place. I might not have the translations absolutely correct, because I don't speak te reo, but I'm certainly learning. But it's a way for those maraes or those meeting places to be able to reactivate themselves, have breakfast, lunch and dinner going, have wānangas there. Wānangas are just like having a program or a course there to be able to educate our people as to what's happened, and now how do we move this these families through the system to be able to now rise up above this illusion of poverty. Because poverty is not real, it's just an illusion.
Exactly.
We're actually swimming in a sea of abundance.
Well, this is I think this is so vitally important because this was kind of always the big stumbling block with that whole 5 billion was that, you know, oh, well, then everyone will just stop working and will do
that's
anything.
not true.
Well, no, it's not true because there's people, we're looking at 4 people right now, 5, because you can't see Biggie, who do the jobs they do because they love it. They don't, I don't spend the hours, Brian, Lisa, Biggie, we don't spend the hours and hours and hours a day that we work doing this. We do it because we love it, right? So, I mean, if you've got, I mean, we were just on the Conscious Consumer Network, we were just doing a meeting call with all the broadcasters, and we're saying, you know, CN, we now have an issue where they're running out of broadband space for the package that we have. 3.5 million hits on CCN in the first month.
Wow.
And it took them by surprise of like, oh boy, we have to up our package now. But to do that requires money. So the more presenters that come on, the more broadcasts that go out, the more people come in. We're talking about a situation where this could give value for people to expand the work they're already doing.
Yeah.
And the only jobs that are going to disappear are the ones that are completely unnecessary in the first place.
That's right. It's also going to give businesses the opportunity to identify their own systems to be able to gut out what is quite harmful to the land and to our people, and to remove that completely, and to now step into a full system that provides real value and real service back to our people. And I'll give you an example. Now that people have resources, they won't need to go and buy the cheaper breads or the cheaper foods and stuff. They can now go and buy the organic stuff and get the good quality stuff, which now means the need for those cheaper products are going to start reducing, which means we can start taking that out.
Yeah. The
Kiri,
white death bread that so many people are stuck eating.
Kiri, I know it looks like you're going to take us through the website, which I hope that you're going to do because I'm super interested, and I'm sure everybody else is also. But I'm trying to, I don't want to say devil's advocate because I'm not trying to punch holes in this thing, but I know that there's going to be a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And what safeguards are in place to protect against greed and overconsumption? You know, like the guy that wants to go straight to the car lot and pick up a brand new, you know, Lamborghini for his
Lamborghini,
Not happening in our system. Our system is designed to assist people with basic necessities. So food, housing, fuel, those kinds of things. It's not designed to go out and buy yourself a Lamborghini. So those are some of the systems that we've put in place so that people just don't go crazy. We have to sort of put the reins on this and let it loose as people go about practicing and being and doing in the system until they get used to it, and until the majority of us have woken up to the fact that money cannot be eaten.
But if somebody does need a vehicle, there are car yards that are involved.
Yeah, a car yard just needs to get involved with it. So let's say you're in Australia and there's a car yard that hears about it. They only need to become a member, purely because we can now access through any of their EFTPOS machines. But not only that, we're about 6 weeks away from implementing our full SWIFT systems, which now means through SWIFT corporate to bank systems, we can have them converted from trade dollars, route them through SWIFT, and have them land in the bank account as currency. A good case study for that was what GE do. GE Finance and GE Money, they create GE Webcash, and they use SWIFT corporate to bank SWIFT Lite systems to have those Webcash routed through SWIFT and land in their bank account, purely because we're all trading. There's actually a product and a service being exchanged. So we do have those systems in place for businesses that do need that funny money, where we can actually convert it back into the funny money. We won't make that system available for individuals, but it will certainly be available for businesses that need to have that while they're transitioning out of the debt system and into a full credit system. But what it also means for businesses is that they can actually run this credit exchange system or credit system alongside their cash system, and it doesn't affect it.
Okay, we are gonna lose the stream again very shortly. There'll be a different link that comes up.
Yeah.
When I will Skype it to you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Before we go,
Skype the link right now.
I don't know if you can create a new one until this one goes down. Kiri, do you have any YouTube videos or explainer videos or things that people can, go and watch to be able to get kind of a Cliff's Notes, wrap it all up in a very easy kind of to digest format? Do you have anything like that yet? Or
yeah, what I've got is my software team. They're actually developing some really professional videos for me that explain each product, each service, and it actually gives a live demonstration of all of these. So what I can do is I'll upload all of those to our Facebook page where people will be able to get access to that. But not only that, you'll be able to find them on YouTube as well.
Okay, yeah, those would be crucial. Yeah. And if they could be like really nice, to show.
No, they are. They're really great. If you see the current ones that we've got, they're really great because you actually get to sit there and watch a live demonstration on how does the mobile app work and how do the cards work and how does the credit exchange work. So you actually get to see live demonstrations of it working. But I think the most important thing is when we get out to these major retailers and take our film crew out there to be able to actually record the swiping of the first cards and then watching for that accepted to come up on the FPOS reader is going to be one of the biggest tools that we've got in our pockets to be able to drive this home.
The mention of SWIFT codes, the mention of the SWIFT system at all, and which includes HSBC, is going to, ring alarm bells for some people.
Absolutely.
Why are you even going down that road?
Purely because our businesses are still stuck in that debt-based system. So in order to get them to transition into this credit system, they need to have their debt dealt with. So let's say a business has no debt to the bank. They can actually transition fully into the credit system and trade and exchange without even going through SWIFT. But we set that up as a just for the interim so that those businesses that do have major debts with company can still operate their business because we understand that they're still going to need that currency. So SWIFT is just there for the interim. It's something that's not going to be there for long. It's just until our businesses have fully transitioned over to the credit system.
Okay, gotcha. Well, we are going to lose.
But yeah, I'm just like you. I'm just like, ugh, eek.
Yeah, no, kind of send it to.
While we were strategizing, we identified that was one of the things that we needed. But we also realized that within about 3 years of running the credit exchange system, there won't even be any need to have those SWIFT systems at all because people will be aware, they will be awake. And why deal in that kind of system when you can deal in the credit exchange that does a way better job?
So there are people all around the world, tens of thousands, I'm going to say, who have had projects that they've been wanting to work on for many years, and they've been waiting for the RV, they've been waiting for Swissindo, they've been waiting for something in order to get their projects off the ground.
Yes.
How can the credit exchange system play a part in that?
Well, we have 3 different types of communities that we assist: individuals, businesses, and organizations. So let's say you've always wanted to start your own business. All you need to do is open up your business account, and it's that simple. You start trading and exchanging. You call up your mobile branch manager. Let's say you require about $100,000 or 100,000 credits to be able to purchase your supplies and whatnot and get your business off the ground. You come into you call up your mobile branch manager. She creates the 100,000. She creates the 10% fee, but she will then give you the 100,000. But for startups, businesses must validate the credits. So they must validate it through paperwork. So they must send the paperwork to the mobile branch manager and say, right, here's the financials, here's the business proposal, here's how much I need, and that will validate why we're giving out why the 100,000 credits or has been transferred to that business. So it's
what about projects that aren't designed to be for profit?
Guys, can we just pause because this is really important? Can we all right now jump to the new link so that we don't have to, because I know that we're going to get interrupted in 3 minutes. So let's pause, jump to the new link, and then we can go heavy because this is really good.
Okay.
I've
Skyped you the new link, Kiri.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Biggie. For those, you need to refresh. You may need to refresh your page. If you're watching on the live. If you're watching live, I'll just type that in. Okay.
We're all good.
Oh, this is going to be a fun day. I can tell already.
Yeah, so getting back to your question, those that are setting up projects that are not designed for profit will need to pick up an organisation card. So that card there we make available to anyone that's providing services that assist the community to be able to obtain funding. So the credit lines that are available with that you can get up to $200,000 per year to be able to start to be able to provide an operating budget, to be able to get the supplies that you need for your project. So we cater for those kinds of things as well through an organisation card, which is the gold card. I don't like calling it an organisation card. It's the gold card.
Okay, so
I love it.
Black card, gold card.
Are there already people in other countries who are talking to you guys, who are starting the implementation process? Which countries?
People in other countries are screaming out. They're like, man, when are you coming to Australia? When are you coming to the UK? When are you coming here? When are you coming there? And what we say to them is like, give us some time to lay the foundation solid here in New Zealand. And all that needs to happen is we copy the blueprint and we send it out through all of our networks and we say, go to it. And then we provide the support and the assistance that anyone would need to be able to get their community up and running on this kind of, with the credit exchange.
The aspect of this that is really, really touching for me and beautiful, because it was the best part of the initial vision. And when Ken Bartle came on our shows and talked about his vision for what a CVAC would look like and what a CVAC centre would look like, you've implemented that aspect of it too, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
You've got these places that people can actually go to, talk to a human being, discuss their issues, discuss their problems, discuss their hopes and their dreams and their challenges to getting there. And a plan is created to assist them. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah. We just had to see the job finished. Because I've got a lot of respect for you guys, and I know with that last video, there was a lot of disheartened people, but I just want to reassure people, don't be disheartened. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Problem is people have been too busy waiting for it to drop out of the sky when they forgot that it was their being and doing that would bring all of this about.
Well done, darling. Well done.
Well said. Very, very well said. Applause, applause.
Thank you.
Let me ask you a question. First of all,
I don't know if you can notice, but can you see all that glowy stuff? I'm like, man, my face is a bit highlighted. It's glowing. But that's because I've had long enough to activate myself, and I've actually activated myself. My spirit has been activated. So I go to sleep and I get downloaded all of this, and then I wake up first thing in the morning and I apply it and I do it. And as I've been doing that, I've actually been, it's really the evolution of consciousness, I suppose. I'm actually evolving myself every step of the way. And it's amazing. My skin is quite thick these days. And all of these all of this negative feedback, I can see through all of that. So I don't take offense to any of it because I can see through it. I know it for what it is, and it doesn't affect me at all. In fact, my heart is determined to allow that person to have their own awakening experience the way that I have.
Kiri, I don't know if I'm muted or not.
Oh, we got you.
Okay. Other than the media trying to come in and say that, this whole thing is too good to be true and it's all a fraud, have you gotten any other resistance from perceived government or any kind of like regulatory agencies or anything like that? And if not, do you anticipate that? And what are you guys going to do when that happens? I mean, what's the plan?
Well, it looks like this. We've set the system up so that, it's a service for community. Now, if our government, I told you about the fact that it's all based on whether we're acting fraudulently or being honest. And if we're being transparent and we're doing the right things, doors open. But when we're doing the wrong thing, doors shut on our face. So it works like this. If the government is all about community and taking care of its people, then how could it possibly come against something that is all about community and benefits the people? And if they don't go with it, they are only exposing themselves to now the general public, and the general public will have to then raise eyebrows and alarm bells to say, well, hang on, aren't you guys meant to be supporting the community? Where in this model does it cause harm? Where in this model does it cause debt? Where in this model does it identify all the problems we're having in this country, and does it alleviate it? There's many things put in place in the model that alleviates a lot of the issues. See, I'm a solutions advisor and expert. So all I did was plucked up all the problems and then created backstop solutions to them. So it's up to the government and it's up to those regulatory authorities to repurpose themselves or fall off.
Well, you know what? It's really, really interesting.
This is the expose.
Well, that's exactly it. It gives the opportunity to really wake up a lot of people. That if people go see the video and they see the person take the card at the store and buy the milk and the bread and the oranges and swipe the card and go, look, accepted, and talk about it, and then the government comes down, you are going to have people all of a sudden go, oh, wait a second, hold on a second. And I think you're going to find that this could be a very big awakening, a moment for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's the awakening, it's the repurposing, it's all of that all in one.
The beautiful thing about you dealing with the multinationals based in New Zealand is that as soon as you get Bunnings in New Zealand on board, or Coles or Woolworths in New Zealand on board, that goes global.
Yes, it does.
So not just dealing with the local corner store. We only need one.
What was I going to ask? Oh shoot! Now I forgot. Okay, so there's a lot of people just tuning in now. Because there's going out on
words got out, so people are coming out.
Yeah, blast out. Everyone, you gotta come listen.
Yeah.
we wanted to make
I've been blasting on.
We wanted to make contact with the One Network because we knew we needed to pull an international audience in. Now, anyone that knows, when I did what I did with the 15 million, it was actually that international audience that became my saving grace. They were the reasons why I wasn't taken out the back and shot and put 6 feet under.
Yeah.
So, and now with this attack that the New Zealand Herald has made on us, the Susan Edmonds, she's actually gone and published false information, which is deceptive, which is a crime. She's also she's also misled our people, which is deception again, which is a crime. She's also, it's also defamation of character. So that is a crime. So what she's gone and done, and we thank you, Susan, she's opened up the can of worms to be able to get the show on the road.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Susan?
Sorry, Brian, hang on. Listen, 1 second.
Yeah.
I know you're desperate to get this out, but Kiri, you need your own show.
Yes, I do.
So you and I will talk after this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, we got it.
It's going to happen if you want it.
Thank you. Now I'm just asking for the people.
Yeah.
The government, the media have come out and said this is a scam, and now I'm asking for the people to decide. I want the people to decide what they want. I don't want them to be influenced by anyone. I want them to make the choice. So all the information is now there available for them. So let's let the people decide whether they want the credit exchange or not.
Kiri, sorry to jump in. Why don't you go ahead and reshare your screen again and walk us through some of what you've done on your website and do a little, just kind of maybe a mini recap, and just you can use the website as your platform to kind of show what you've created and what's coming, because there's lots of new people tuning in right now.
And also because this is a global audience, any facilities on there that allow people from outside New Zealand to to participate in some way or find out more information or make contact with anybody, that would be great.
So as you can see, this is the Credit Exchange website. What I'm going to do is over here you join. Now this is only available to New Zealand at the moment, but once we've established our networks in all these other countries, which is a really simple process, this can be in Australia, in the UK, wherever, really, really quickly. It's just that you'll need to be able to have a support team the way I've set up my support team to be able to drive it home for your people in your country. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take you to the About page, because the About page has got all the information there and how it, you know, basically the gist of it in real layman's terms. So I'm just going to read it. Credit Exchange is New Zealand's newest franchise and license operation, launching an exciting new range of product services and a more excellent way to buy and sell in a global trading marketplace. Now, the reason why we set up franchises and licenses is purely because we understand that by putting the mothership into the New Zealand jurisdiction would actually put it under their authority. So rather than putting the mother load into the New Zealand jurisdiction, we've offered franchises and licenses, and that is a way that you can protect the core of the system. I'll give you an example. Let's say you had someone purchased a franchise for the as a mobile branch operator, and let's say that person did the wrong things with it and they were abusing it. Well, it's through operating it through a franchise and license system that those that are overseeing the entire system within our collective countries can now go in and have that license revoked immediately and shut down all systems, because we don't want these systems to harm anyone. We don't want any debt attached to it. We need the guidelines and the principles adhered to, and it should never be abused. So we've set it up that way for that particular reason. Now, all our Credit Exchange franchises are independently owned and operated within their regions and local areas. And it can consist of the following structure. Now, if you choose to take on the structure under our leadership teams, then that's your choice. But if you don't, and you choose to keep a more holistic approach to it, that is acceptable as well. But what we did is we understand that people are used to a certain kind of, they're used to the system, so they're used to seeing certain things. And until we actually bridge them out of that and give them a different understanding, we've had to use technologies that they're used to and that they can relate to. One of the first things that we offer is a mobile branch service. So we've set up a mobile branch service, and you can see all the different towns there. So we've got connections in Northland, Auckland, the Waikato, Taranaki, and Bay of Plenty. Now, we've set up a mobile branch service because we identified that a lot of people may not have the internet, don't know how to use computers, don't even have an email address. So with our mobile branch service, it means someone can actually come out to you and give that personalised assistance without all the, I'm going to miss out because I don't have the internet, I don't have this. So what we've done is we've identified a wide range of potential problems that we could come up against, and we've just plugged in backstop solutions to all of it. So not only can we offer now mobile branch services, but we can also offer what's called mobile stores. Now, mobile stores, it's just a little mini store set up in the likes of a Foursquare or your own business. So now you can run your business, and anyone that's wanting Credit Exchange services can now go into that business and access the mobile store that's actually been set up in that particular business. So now now we're letting this out to as many avenues as possible. Registrations is really, really easy. It's free to join. It doesn't cost anything to join. There's no fees when you start buying and selling. So if you're trading and exchanging, let's say you want to trade with someone over in Australia, you now trade and exchange with one another and know that the Credit Exchange is not going to come in and put all these fees on you, all these ridiculous costs to be able to upload your products, goods or services. So now you can promote your business. So that's all completely free to do. Now,
and it's credit for credit, regardless of country
It's
and currency.
credit for
There's no
credit. It's a unit
conversion
for
rates
unit
and-
value.
Yep, beautiful. Okay.
Yeah, it's all a unit for unit value. Now, you can see there that it says we are required to collect this information for tax purposes, your IRD number. What I did was I went back to my developers and I said, listen, can we actually get rid of that IRD number? I said, because that IRD number attached with the legal entity then creates joinder back into that system. Now, what he said to me was, because we're not giving financial advice, we're not charging any interest, we could do away with that IRD number. So we did. We did away with the IRD number, which I'll have to let him know he needs to update that information, which means you won't be required to plug any government identification numbers into the system to be able to open up your account. In fact, what we will do is we'll use our own numbering system. What you will need, though, is you'll need a valid email address to activate your account. So when you go in and join on the site, you'll be sent an activation email. You go into your email, click that link, and it'll activate and open your account. The other thing you'll need.
Ask another question though, while you're on the subject. Not using the legal name is a big movement right now. So
Yep.
can people call themselves whatever they choose?
Absolutely. So what we did is we set up a field where you can put your name, however you wish to identify yourself, and then there's a trading name. So how do you want people to see you?
Okay.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have fun with this.
Oh, Brian, that's going to be bad.
I'm just thinking of all the creative ideas now.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
and do you see what I mean? How we can actually dispel the myth that people think, oh, people aren't going to work. That's lies, because already I can see it in Brian's eyes. His creator is actually popping like it's nobody's business. And he's actually now understanding that creator role, and he's now understanding and linking into all these things that he's done in his entire life, and how that all came to be where we are at today. So already I can see Brian's creator coming out of him going, oh my gosh, I can now do this, I can do this, I can do that. So right away, Brian is evidence that people aren't going to stop working. That's a lie. They're going to step into their creator role and they're going to activate themselves.
Vicky says, no, Brian is going bonkers. I'm afraid his head might pop. Too late. Well, what this is doing is it's unleashing the creative spirit within.
Yes, it is.
People become less human robots and they become more what we were designed to be, which is co-creators of our existence.
Absolutely.
The limitations, all the self-imposed perception of self-imposed limitations are now being freed as a result of this. And the thing is, this is the tool. It didn't, just like the papers, people don't actually need this, but if they need the boost, if they need the excuse, if they need the validation of the confirmation to be able to kind of unlock that creative spirit within, well, boy, oh boy, have you provided the ultimate tool to be able to do that.
Yeah, it is a living system. It's a living, breathing system, and it will activate anyone like you wouldn't believe. And it doesn't matter the degree. It doesn't matter how asleep they are. It will find something within you and it will unlock those doors slowly but surely as you go about being and doing.
Well, if you don't have to worry about, I mean, this is what we have this conversation. Oh God, Lisa, how many times have we had this conversation? That
I've lost count.
You don't have to worry about a roof over your head and the food on your table to feed your kids. I know you've got a passel of kids just like I do. And they eat in our house and home every day. If you don't have that worry, then you can create.
Yes.
You can create. I mean, I know with the work that Nick is doing with the crystal batteries and all that, you get so caught up in the worry.
Yeah.
Of, okay, well, now I've got to buy this piece, and if I have to buy this piece, it's okay. But then we've got to do well, we're not going to get any more money until this date. If that's taken out of the equation, people have the incredible ability to just, as you say, just create.
Yeah.
Because everyone can do something. Everyone can create something. It doesn't matter how big, small, grandiose. It doesn't matter. It's about doing what you love, having the ability to do what you love.
Yeah,
but that's exactly why the system is created the way it is. It's to ensure you do not have the time or the energy or the wherewithal to be creative, to be that creative being.
This is the ultimate opportunity now. You know, I've been reading a lot lately, and there's been studies where 100 people have been asked why they do what they do. Why do they wake up in the morning and go to work? Why do they, you know, whatever it is that they do, why do they do it? And 99 out of 100 people can't answer that question because they don't know. And so this is now a really great opportunity. What this is doing is creating the foundation for people to start figuring out, what is it that I love to do, you know, exactly. And why do I love to do it, you know? So what a great tool for empowerment and self-reflection, and to be able to kind of guide the way to show people, okay, look, it's okay to be creative. It's okay to step out. It's okay to try to figure out what it is that we love, because when we're out of survival mode, the doors just open, you know what I mean? So if there's going to be people that are watching this and listening to it later all over the world. And maybe it's time for our transcriber team to come back on board, D. I don't know. Just saying. But how can people support this and get involved and help to spread the message and get the word out there now? What is it that people can do?
What they can do is let's say they want to take the credit exchange and basically set it up within their community so that their community can start operating this. They just need to make contact with us and make us aware of where they are. And
Frozen.
I was just going to ask, is that me or is that?
No, she's frozen.
Okay.
I'm surprised it didn't happen earlier, actually, considering the content of this call.
Oh, I've been having serious freaking issues. Literally, my internet on my CPU, I just went through, if you saw the intense look of concentration on my face 15 minutes ago, my CPU usage on my computer was 100%, and I was starting to freeze up. And I went to go, and I literally went and pulled out the calculator and calculated the numbers. I was only using 35% CPU usage, so how could I be at 100%?
Whoa. Kiri, turn your camera off and then on again. What was that?
That was a cat that jumped off my bunk bed and across my computer. He's crazy. He's like a little mini kamikaze.
All right, we need to get Kiri back. I will just try and Skype her.
My new cat named Kitty.
Here you go, guys. This is the one. Let me see if I can make this bigger, though, because this is exactly what we were just talking about. Oh, come on, seriously. Can we just see it? Yeah, I'll pull this up while we're waiting for Kiri. If I can actually find my Zoom again. Where are we? Here, oh, look, guys. This is what we were just talking about.
I think she's lost internet, actually. Oh, no, here. She's back. She's coming.
Is exactly that. Normal is getting dressed in clothes that you buy for work and drive through traffic in a car that you're still paying for in order to get to the job you need to pay for the clothes in the car and the house you've taken all day for to live in.
Oh my God, I need to post that.
Oh, this is one of my favorites. I reposted this. This was actually my profile picture on Facebook for years. But that is the creation, right? That is the creation that has been made. Then you have just a bunch of little rats running on the wheel, chasing their own tails, right? And they don't have time or energy to create anything or to think for themselves. So just keep them running on the little wheel. And that is the whole thing. You've got to break that paradigm and start creating.
So you know where we're really headed with this. The bigger picture of it is that the paradigm shift is occurring, and it's going to. We call it Operation Snowball Effect.
Yeah.
And eventually,
Kiri, I just have to let you know that there are some people trying to go to the website and they're not able to access it. It's saying forbidden. Now, I don't know if these people are outside of New Zealand, perhaps. I'm not sure.
You should be able to access it outside of New Zealand.
Let me try on my end. Hold on. Make sure they're not putting an E before exchange.
Yeah, no E.
One of the presenters was sharing the link to the show on Facebook, and now they've just been blocked by Facebook.
I'm in on the website, so it's probably because they're putting exchange instead of X.
Just the X change.
.co.nz. I'm in right now.
Okay, I will redo the link. Let me see if I can
This is taking the X factor to a whole nother level.
Yes, it is.
Oh no. Brian's getting his fingers involved. Trouble.
I just want to share with you who's actually now coming into the mix. Who's actually now coming into the mix of the credit exchange? So we've got our elderly that are coming in to support this. We've got our younger generation, so all of our youth. We actually had some of our youth down at our launch in Waitangi Day, and they painted a big yellow X across their face, but they're now getting in behind it to back it up. Now, we anticipate we're going to make contact with all the schools, and we're going to offer the schools a doorway into the exchange centres, which means that anytime there's a child there that is struggling, bring them through the exchange centres so we can identify why. Anytime there's a child there that's getting ready to leave or graduate school, send them through to the exchange centres, because can you imagine being 17 years of age and becoming a credit exchange branch manager? You will now become the model for all that generation to aspire to. So those are all the different types of people. Not only that, we've set it up so that even the little children can now participate in this. So we actually are putting together a package where we offer children their own cards that are obviously managed by mum and dad. Now, these cards won't be able to go in a lot of, they will only be able to go into places like schools to pay for school fees. We're hoping to be able to get warehouse stationery on board so that the parents can now get stationery, uniforms, clothing, those things that every child needs to be able to get a good head start at the beginning of every year. Because what we've noticed is that how many children can't start school in the first week purely because mum and dad don't have enough money to be able to pay all the school fees, the uniforms. And you can imagine, being a mother of 8, how much I have to fork out every year to be able to get my children back into school. One part there, I actually took them out of it, and I challenged Hekia Parata, who was the Minister of Education here in New Zealand. I challenged her down at Waitangi, and I said to her, how do we opt out of your system? And she says, oh, well, do you mean homeschool? And I says, heck no, we want out altogether. And she says, well, she turned around and she made the fatal comment that she said, your tupuna signed the Treaty of Waitangi, so they signed you up to this. And I said to them, I says, yeah, well, my tupuna, which means my ancestors may have signed that, but I didn't sign it. And you didn't give me full disclosure of what I'm signing. Therefore, I'm not a part of that system. So she made the fatal mistake of making that comment, because a lot of people were around with their phones that day. And when they heard it, man, I tell you what, the word went out about her of where she stands and what she's all about. Now, this is a lady who's the minister of our education system. She's driving our education system down the gurgler. Parents are just struggling like you wouldn't believe. And now they're setting up what's called rock-on programs to now entrap people into getting into these contracts with the school. And when, let's say the child breaches one term of that contract, they're now sending our people off to court and fining them for it. So our people are now paying between $500 and up to $5,000 in fines because they breached one technicality. Wow, we gave them a good run for their money. And I took a mother into the Hawara High School and challenged their rock-on program. And I said to them, okay, well, if this is the law, prove it, show me. Where's the maxims of law that validates this? And he says, oh, it's the law of the land. I says, great, I'm glad you said it's the law of the land and not your acts, because acts is generally what actors do. So are you acting, or have you got some evidence to validate your comments? One thing he said to the young boy was, it's a fact that if you don't go to school and you don't pass school C, you'll never be anything and you'll never get a job. And so I gave this deputy principal enough rope to hang himself. And then I grabbed the rope and I yanked it back and I says, hold up. First and foremost, I says, you won't address that to this young man here because he's a minor. I says, you'll address it to mum and myself. And I says, and anyway, I've already got a response for you. I says, right, you're claiming the Education Act has authority to force these people into this kind of predicament, yet where is the foreclosure? Where is the evidence of your act? And where can I find that in the maxims of law? I'm not talking about your, and he says, oh, look, this is the law, and I'm going to go and get the principal. I said, you do that? You go get the principal right now. So at that point, we moved from one office into the principal's office where they had their social workers and all that standing there. And according to the mum, the social worker is quite a mouthy social worker, and she's quite a bossy social worker. But I'll tell you what, she sat there and she shut her mouth and she didn't say boo that day, purely because she recognised that there was someone in that room that knew exactly what they were talking about. So I then challenged the principal and the deputy principal for the Rock On program and the police that were driving it, and the social worker, and I said to them, okay, well, you're not to go any further with putting this young boy on your Rock On program, because I can identify that you haven't got consent from mum. Mum, do you agree to this? And she said she's got her paper up over her mouth, giggling behind it, because she just can't. She's just laughing at how these agents are reacting to this. And you've got the poor deputy principal in the corner, and his throat's like going 20 to the dozen. You can literally see his heartbeat in his throat. And the poor principal is going, I'm going to call my lawyer and I'm going to get legal advice. I said, I would advise you go and get some legal advice. And I says, and I'll tell you what, you're not going any further with this contract right here, right now, not with this child anyway. I says, because you don't have permission. Go and get yourself some legal advice, because I'm going to put you all on notice. And trust me when I say I'm going to hold you to the task. And they were just like, but
okay, Kiri.
That young man walked out of there with his head held high, and he was empowered. That young man now loves school. He enjoys it thoroughly because he was empowered that day. He got to witness something that not many of our mothers are aware of that is available to us. And he got to be there and witness it firsthand. So it was great.
That's it. I mean, this is the whole thing. We've been so brainwashed for generations that you never question authority. And, the principal of the school, I mean, you were brainwashed when we were in public school, not to question the principal. And as a parent, you all of a sudden come face to face with that brainwashing and going, wow, I actually can still feel the terror that I had when I was 6 years old, just walking into the principal's office.
Yeah.
But when people stand up, it blows the socks off these guys, because they're just not used to it. And I've done the same thing. My kids have been in and out of the public school system so many times that the last time I pulled them out of the public school system, the Board of Education was like, okay, you're not going to send them back again, are you? I was like, hell no. And you could literally see the relief on the woman's face of like, oh, thank God we don't have to deal with her anymore.
Kiri, you are the worst nightmare. You are like the garlic and salt water vampire.
That's what everyone needs to be, is the worst nightmare of whoever you're standing in front of, whether it's the judge, whether it's the cop, whether it's the principal of the school or the doctor. It doesn't matter. Be their worst nightmare. All you have to do is say, really?
Yeah. For me,
guys, we need to get back to screen sharing. The people in the chat room want it. Yeah. I'm getting Skype messages. They need to. They really want to get back to that website and have you talk them through it.
I have. Hang on. I'll do this first.
Kiri, you are.
I have what's been considered as a thorn in their side, but if you look at my intention is really pure. I went to them and I tried to reason with them, and I was asking them, like, please, genuinely, I need to know if any of this is correct, or, what's going on, because I'm quite confused. And when, as I learned and went through that experience, it opened up my mind like you wouldn't believe. So yeah, I have become a thorn in their side, but I say this and I do this with all the respect in the world to both systems. I understand that there are people that have gone into that system with wholeheartedly with the intention of doing good, but it just so happens that that system, there is not an ounce of good within it. So I say this with all due respect. And our people have been fighting the government for hundreds of years for our sovereignty, especially our Māori people, and we've had no luck, no joy whatsoever. In fact, we're all getting kicked off our land like you wouldn't believe. And to me, it's like, well, if I don't stand up and do something for my children, who's going to? And I mean, I'm good at what I do. I'm great at solutions. And I'll tell you what, I don't have any more arguments with the government. I'm not fighting with them. I'm not at war with them at all. I laid my peace with them. I'm at peace with the government, purely because I identified both sides of the story. Which all that now needs to happen is we need to just make the subtle changes and approaches to a new way and a new system. It doesn't have to be something that happens overnight, because I understand where their fears are. Their fears are is that, oh my gosh, this is just going to turn the whole country upside down, but it's not. There's a way we can actually do this very subtly without causing any disruptance to the country at all. So, I understand that government's in a fearful position as well, but as they go about being and doing in the system and willing to compromise, then everything can be done really, really smoothly. It doesn't have to be a big upheaval. And if anyone's going to cause it, it's only going to be themselves. Therefore, they only have themselves to blame. We need to cooperate with one another, and we need to work with one another.
Absolutely. And I think the more people that become aware of this, that are currently in the system, and see that they can perhaps, they may have joined that role, that organization, that government, corporation, whatever, because the job that they want to do, they believe in.
Yeah, definitely.
But now they might be able to do that same job in a system that's actually beneficial rather than fraudulent and harmful.
And now those individuals that went into those positions wholeheartedly can now activate their creator roles and be actually doing the things that they love doing, rather than going to a job and doing it purely because they have to collect a wage to pay their rent, their food, and all of that. So I understand all of that, and I'm not at war with them. I just need them to understand that this is not a war. This is nothing personal. This is just business. And if they want to get on board, the door is open for them as well. Well, we need to forgive each other, really, because we didn't know what we were doing.
Well, this is the thing. It's really interesting. Mel V, right, when she was quasi-arrested back in December, and she talked about educating through the whole start of it, from the police officers to like the bailiffs, etc., and educating them and treating them like a human being, because they're a human being. They have a shitty job.
That's right.
They have a really shitty job, and they probably know it. So when you actually speak to them as a human being and explain all these pieces to them, they might resist, but it's the seed that's planted. Once you hear something, you can't unhear it. And the seed right there in your unconscious, just waiting to germinate, right? So the whole thing, you talk to these people, you don't know what seeds you've just planted.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We've been so indoctrinated into this system that we will fight to support it because we believe in it, and we've been led to believe that it's in our best interest. And that's why I ask about these videos, because the re-education process is so important. You really got to be able to crack that shell within people to help them understand, well, wait a second, just because this is what you've been raised to believe doesn't necessarily mean that it's in your best interest. And the more compassion we can build into that process. When Kiri's here telling these stories, she's laughing and she's doing it with a smile on her face. And when she goes up against these public figures, she's not blasting hate, she's blasting love. It's challenging, and they probably hate her as a result, but they're embedded with this energy of, I understand that you are human. I honor that human soul spirit within you. I'm giving you to reevaluate the things that you've been taught and led to believe as truth, as fact, as the way it is, and challenging the status quo and kind of putting that information out there is the best thing that we can do, because it's ultimately the greatest ingredient for change. Put that seed within people. They might resist it in the beginning, but then they're going to go home and they're going to go, well, wait a second. Something to this.
Yeah.
And that's when things really start to domino.
Yeah, absolutely. You're so right. And that's why we can prove without a doubt the credit exchange is a living system. It's a flexible one. It's one that is just like water. Bruce Lee said, be like water. And you're better off being like water than to be rigid and stone, purely because when you have a rigid system like that, it can't bend and shape and match the multiple dynamics that one has to encounter when they're providing services to people. So it has to be a flexible system. It has to be one that identifies, one that alleviates, one that motivates. All those things all belong together, and we've built it into the system.
So if I get this correctly, if someone wants to open a franchise,
yeah,
they actually need $5,000, as in fiat
currency. Yeah, correct.
Okay. And why is that?
Purely because we're transitioning. So as we're transitioning, we're still actually all operating on that fiat currency. Within about the first or second year of running it, we'd actually be able to remove that completely. But while we're transitioning, and to get this out to as many people, we've actually had to fork out fiat currency to be able to set this whole system up. And it's fiat currency that's sort of dominating at the moment. Now, our credits work the same way currency valuations work. The higher the demand, the greater the value. The lesser the demand, the lesser the value. So that's why we actually do have to charge fiat money for people to be able to set up a franchise, because we have to use fiat money to be able to provide that vehicle, provide that laptop, and all those sorts of things until enough people are demanding it. And once the demand is there for it, the whole system will flip on its head and we'll merge straight into credits, which now means businesses coming on board won't need to have the need of having that fiat currency. See, we only need one supplier, one manufacturer, and all these different areas of where we need to service. Once we've converted them to the credit system, we can take all of our business to those suppliers and those manufacturers, which will then force all the other ones to either jump on board or to sink. So it's just a transition period.
Okay. If you've got any questions, unfortunately, we don't have the ability to call in right now, which is a real shame because I'm sure this would be a highly called in show. Please put them in the chat room. So if you're listening somewhere else, please go to lisamharrison.com. There's a chat room there, and you can put your questions in. You can have a look at the website that Kiri's talking about, which is Credit X Change. Credit exchange.co.nz.
Here's our FPOS readers. So not only are they FPOS readers, but they double as tablets as well. They've got GPS, all sorts. So this is what we're using for our electronic payment transfers system. I don't know if you can see it, but you see the X there? You download the app. Oh, hang on a minute.
Just want to say, Biggie, you might want to go and increase that bandwidth, man. If you thought it was overloaded before, just saying.
And actually, we can arrange for a call-in number. So as soon as I've got it, I will let you know what it is. Okay. Sorry, go for it. This is new technology that you've had created specifically for this.
Yeah, and we're actually leading the world with this technology. So the report that came back from our software developers is that we're well ahead of everyone with this technology. Our cards have got the top level encryption built into the card.
Kiri, end your share screen so people can see your what you're doing a little bit bigger that are tuning in on the CC. Right now you're a tiny little box. Make your box bigger.
So just stop screen share, yeah. Whoop.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, so these cards here have the, what our developers told us is that they are the most powerful cards on this planet at the moment, and the encryption that goes into these are well ahead of any of the banks. And we're sort of leading the way at the moment and leading the charge with this new technology that's coming out. If people aren't aware, our governments and major countries are actually all merging towards a digital currency. So that's what's sort of happening. So we decided, well, we're going to lead the way by employing some really cool technologies to be able to meet that demand.
Nice. Can you put your tablet up to show the app again?
Yeah, sure. Well, throwing them around. So this is our EFTPOS reader. So already now you can go into some stores and you can see the ones that are provided by Sugar. Probably can't see it too much. It's just like a tablet. It's no different to a tablet. The Acer tablet. So we've used it's a really good quality tablet. It's not one of your cheaper imitations. So we haven't spared any expense in the technology, but to be able to provide this to our people, it would cost them $150 plus GST. Now, $150 plus GST is a small investment compared to the fact that now if you're converting your businesses to these EFTPOS machines, you're going to be saving yourselves thousands of dollars in hosting and transaction fees on any other ordinary EFTPOS terminal.
We've got a couple of questions, Kiri.
Yeah, sure.
And there's also now a call-in number that should be appearing on the screen. Okay, we've got, does it work similar to how Bartercard, excuse me, how Bartercard works, where people purchase products and services via credit-issued points?
I don't like to connect it with Barter because our technology is way more smarter. So Barter has a Barter card, we have a smarter card.
You've been asked that question before.
Yeah, I actually got that one from my good friend Dave, who owns Big Media in Taranaki, and he also runs Cruise FM. And he said to me, "It's not Barter, it's smarter." And I went, "Oh man, that's a good one." So thanks, Dave.
So it is in the sense of it's credits being passed back and forth, but it's not in the sense of where
our credit systems work exactly the same way the credit systems work with the banks. Now, I want to really get inside people and to help them to understand that the money that the digits or the money, whatever they want to call it, that they see in their bank is not cash. It is not even New Zealand dollars. It is all credit, exactly the same as the credit exchange. It doesn't become cash until they physically go and take that card, stick it in a hole in the wall called an ATM, and withdraw the actual private fiat currency. So people need to understand that the money in their banks is not cash or currency. It is credit, no different to our credit, exactly the same. So our system works exactly like the banks does. I would compare us to the banks rather than Bartercard, because Bartercard, no disrespect to Bartercard. In fact, I'd love to make contact with those directors to be able to show them how now they can take Bartercard and enhance it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, it's all too often. How many people don't, they never actually even touch currency. No. They use their debit and their credit cards everywhere they go. It's just as good as cash. It's better because it doesn't have that dirty kind of nasty
what I am going to do is I'm going to provide you with a link, and I think you guys are going to absolutely love this link, because we had a report come out on 7 Sharp News, on the mainstream media news, how banks create interest on money they never had.
Yeah.
And they actually talk about it and how they create money out of thin air. Now, there's an economist, he's actually on there, and he says, money works just like you've got to have faith. And if you have faith that it's there, then it works. So really, money or cash and all of that sort of stuff works and operates through faith. So in God we trust, in good faith and credit.
Well, that can be illustrated by looking at some of the currencies that have collapsed throughout history. The leading cause of currency collapse is the greater majority of the people of whatever nation or country that use the currency, they lose faith in the currency all at the same time. And if everybody ultimately decides that it doesn't have to be currency, it could be anything, that whatever this is that's in my hand, this pen, no longer has any value, well, then it doesn't, because it takes enough people to agree that this pen has value for this pen to have value. And so basically, for the system that you've created, it just takes enough people to understand that this system has value.
Yeah.
For the system to have value, and the value back to value in the system is the people. So for the people to say the system doesn't have value, it's for them to say I am not valuable.
That's right. Exactly.
I don't know anybody that would want to do that.
Exactly. What we're doing is we're taking away our intrinsic value from ourselves, and we're creating this value outside of ourselves. When once again, I'll go back to the example that I used. How valuable would that car be if there was no human there to give it the value to drive it or to utilize that product or service? The pen does not pick itself up and write. The human has to give the pen the value to be able to make it to write. So right there, you can already see that the value is not in the object. The value is in the one driving it or giving it the value, which is us. Because the car doesn't operate if we're not in it driving it. Therefore, where does that leave the manufacturers who have designed the car? It's a product that's basically useless. So therefore, how can they consider that to be the commodity when the commodity was actually locked up inside of you? And we call it your wairua. So the same like the OPPT principles, your spirit was the true representation of gold, and your avatar or your body, I like to call it an avatar. The avatar that your spirit exists in has an ego, it has physical needs. So your spiritual aspect of yourself has a spiritual need, and it needs to be fed with spiritual stuff. But your physical avatar has physical needs. It has an ego, it has a body, it suffers from the cold. So it needs all of these things to be able to keep it sustained. Because if the body's not sustained, then the wairua then the spirit can no longer exist in the body if we don't take care of this avatar. So right there, we can dispel all those myths that the value is actually outside of us. It's not. Even those that believe in that are connected to any religious, the Bible already tells them, don't look outside yourself, go within. And it always has been within, except we've been tricked into thinking that these products are the value. Now, in our system, what it means is, I'll use farmers for an example. Farmers, they work really, really hard, and they spend from 3 o'clock in the morning till, 9 o'clock at night sometimes are running and operating their farms. Yet, their value is determined by a corporation that will come in and determine what they want to pay for that value. In our system, farmers now have the opportunity to be able to set the value on their products and know that they can get that value, because that is what's required to be able to sustain their business, have a really comfortable lifestyle, and then expand as well. But at the moment, farmers are suffering the most purely because we've got bigger corporations coming in and dictating their value. And once again, they think the value is outside of them, but yet if it wasn't for the farmer creating all that value in the first place, where would that corporation be? I mean, so there you can already see that the value was created through the hard work and the effort of that farmer who wakes up every morning, who drives the tractor, who milks the cows and all of that, but yet their value has been robbed from them. So we need to be able to show people without a doubt with logical information of just how that value can now exist inside of you. You can now set the value of your products and services according to what it is that you require to be able to sustain yourself, to be able to prosper, and then to be able to expand. And what we are doing is we're removing that whole need to profit. People don't need a profit. You just need to prosper, and you just need to live. And you can do that quite comfortably with all your needs met with the credit exchange.
Yeah, profit, that's a big one. The only reason we do profit is to try and provide for all those needs.
That's right.
And if those needs are being met, you do things from a very, very, very different place.
Yeah.
And your need to continue to try and get something more in exchange for what you've given is out of the equation.
That's right.
I've just been told by a very dear friend and somebody who's very connected to the energetics that all the energetics have been set up to back this.
Well done, team. You guys did it.
Walk us through.
Sorry, Brian, but it was through your guys' foundations that the platform was able to actually manifest.
Well,
too proud of you for what you got and done with it.
Here, aren't there? Walk us through a timeline of events. What's your plan over the course of the next 1 week, 2 week, 1 month, 2 months, 6 months? How do you see this rolling out?
So this week alone, we're going to be rolling out with our, now what we actually had a business dinner planned tonight, and it was planned to be in Kaikohe at the Powerhouse Station in Northland. But because of that article that's come out, that slanderous article, may I add, slamming the credit exchange as a scam and too good to be true, what we've decided is we've decided to up our game by saying, okay, well, we challenge you now. We accept what you're saying, and we now will rise to that challenge, and we will now prove it. So what we're saying to any major retailers that want to participate in this, we'll actually put up the we'll put up $1,000 for 5 retailers to come along and prove us wrong, which means we will allow random customers to come through and swipe that card, pay for their petrol, pay for their food, pay for a product at the likes of Bunnings or whoever, whatever major retailer has decided to come on and accept our challenge, so that we can prove without a doubt that the swipe cards do actually work and that this is no scam, this is a reality, and we're not going anywhere. So that's what's happening for this week. And then next week, what we are doing is we will then roll out with our business dinner promotions, with the first one being here in Kaikohe, and then we're going to be travelling the country and we're going to be sharing this. So people will actually get an opportunity to meet us in the flesh, the ones who have been putting this whole thing together, and they'll be able to meet the team, ask any questions that they've got, any concerns that they may have, and then we can actually demonstrate the products and services in front of them so that they can make an informed decision based on fact rather than someone's hearsay.
Okay, so I know that there's going to be people all over the world who want to get involved already, and you're saying, I know you're saying, give it time.
Come to New Zealand.
Yeah, let the blueprint kind of solidify. But do you have contacts already, teams forming already in other countries that are starting to get themselves organised for when that time comes?
The next country that we plan on going to first is Australia. We already have contacts there in Australia. You remember Tootie? She's been one of my biggest supporters, and we intend on taking the system to Tootie so she can roll them out in Australia. But
okay,
already
well, I will talk to her later today and see how I can support that.
Absolutely. So already Tootie would be your guys' contact to go back to help drive this, because she has a direct link in with me directly.
Brilliant. You got anybody else anywhere else?
We do have a few people in the UK, but we haven't touched base with them yet, purely because we need to get this blueprint set up, and it was a bit too much.
Dee's asking if they like Canadians over there in New Zealand.
Actually, I'll tell you what, we've got a Canadian on our board. We've got a board that actually oversees this, and now these people, I've hand-picked these people specifically purely because they have the heart. There's not an ounce of greed within them. They are tuturu, which means they are true to their word. They are members within the Northland area that have integrity and are recognised by our community as people with integrity. So we haven't just gone and got anyone. We've gone and got people with integrity that have actually come. I've invited them and I've said, come in and look at what I'm doing. And I'll tell you what, we've knocked the socks off these people. And they are just like, they can't thank me enough. And I'm just saying, don't thank me. Please don't thank me. Because this was all downloaded to me. So I'm just the vessel that's manifesting all of this and bringing it through and making it available. So it's not me that needs to be thanked. It's all those higher sources and those higher energies that are guiding this. Because if they weren't guiding this, then none of this would be possible. And
just as I was saying how her internet's up. That's funny.
Oh, I don't know. Biggie just said, how do they feel? Said about the internet, and we were just joking, saying, I wonder how they feel about the Dutch and the Canadians. Wonder what residency hoops you have to jump through. What are the visas like for going there?
I mean, everybody's going to want to do this and where they live, obviously. I mean, there's going to be a huge demand for it. But they got the right idea. I mean, once they can show these videos and once they can show this working in, a little village in New Zealand, and they can show that swipe and it working, oh my gosh, this is just screaming for its own show. Like,
holy cow,
right away. Absolutely. Yep. All right.
All right, Kiri, she'll be back. She will be back. Well, we've already gone 12 minutes over, which is
Yeah.
right. But Biggie said it's not a problem. Kiri, we need you back.
You know what I think we should do, guys? Is I think that we need to do another show, like even this week if we can, and promote the shit out of it with this video so that people are ready to call in, they have their questions, and then we can really, really promote it huge.
Yeah,
Because
I
right
agree.
now, I think there's a lot of information for people to digest. So if we can get Biggie to get this archive show out immediately, or as fast as close to immediately as possible, then people will have a chance to listen to it all, digest it, and then we can do another show this week and really promote the hell out of it so that people will be able to listen.
I concur.
We need Kiri back because there's questions coming in the chat room. So
Gotta
gotta get her back.
It's crazy right now. And it's gonna get crazier.
Okay.
Wow.
People asking me for the chat room link. It's all going on at this end. Okay.
Of course I'm demanding, Biggie. Don't be ridiculous. There she is.
Okay, Kiri, just a couple of questions coming out of the chat room, or comments, observations. Also, it's okay. Someone says issuing of cards. There is a cost involved.
Yes, there is a cost involved.
Okay, how much is it to get a card?
Cards are going to cost, for an individual card, it's going to cost $40 for a card. But what comes with that card far outweighs the investment. So no fees, no transaction fees, but yes, there is a cost involved with the cards. And this is just all while we're making the transition.
Yeah, it gets them access to the account and all that stuff online, everything else. Yeah.
All of that. Not only that, it gives them the ability to be able to now trade and exchange with one another, whether they do that through the buy and sell network or whether they want to come and apply for a credit boost to be able to get extra credit funding and then have those credits applied to the payment card that can now be swiped in any Paymark EFTPOS machine, provided that the business becomes a member.
Okay, so the site currently does allow for registrations from New Zealand and Australia.
Yes. I believe that there is a link there into Australia, but it won't have all the states there yet.
Okay.
Why, Lisa, you thinking about applying?
I'm not the only one. I'm originally from New Zealand, because I'm not even going to try and attempt to pronounce the place, but in New Zealand, and I'm interested in joining as I live in Australia.
Yeah.
So if you're in Australia or New Zealand, it's fine. You can register at this point.
Yeah.
And someone's
you
saying
don't
yes,
find
another
your-
show this week.
Yeah, if you don't find your state there that's in Australia, because I know we've sort of just only set up Sydney at the moment, purely because our direct link to Sydney was 2D, then if you are originally from New Zealand, I mean, technically if you're from New Zealand, you join under the New Zealand one, but it's not going to stop you from, let's say you might have, if you've got contacts here in New Zealand and you want to sign up while you're in Australia, it just means that until we actually get things set up in Australia, there'll be nowhere to swipe. So you might have to fly to New Zealand to do it.
So that Blue just only just joined the
I was going to say this has Arkansas written all over it. But Kiri, people are going to want to know, so I'll just jump out and ask it now. Where have all the resources come from to take this as far as you've been able to take it kind of on your own? How have you pulled it off?
I've actually funded it, the entire project myself. So I went and borrowed money and I funded it, as well as I had to go out and make money. I've got multiple skills. So I build websites, I provide legal advocacy, information and support, social services, and a wide range of other skills that I have. So I've actually been working and funding this kaupapa myself, or this system myself.
Are you taking, donations or anything like that to help support your work? I mean, we
don't have a donation line set up, but we would greatly appreciate donations because that would be a big big weight off my shoulders because I've had to carry the whole the financial expenses of putting this whole thing together, which just means that my children have had to sacrifice. We've had to downsize in our house. We've made huge sacrifices so that we can take a lot of that money and put it into the system because we believe in it.
Do you have a PayPal account that if anybody that watches this, they're interested in
we do.
helping supporting?
Yeah,
what is it?
We do. And I can actually provide you that link right now. Hang on a minute.
Or if you even type it into the chat, then Biggie can put it up on the screen.
Yeah. Now you just need that email address, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So how many businesses currently can people trade with in New Zealand?
At the moment, they can, there's, oh, heck, I think off the top of my head, I'm not quite sure. But already over the last couple of days, we've already had contact from dairy owners, gas, oh, hang on, sorry, wrong window, GAS, which is a petrol station. I've also been contacted by Mike, who's the CEO of Z, and he is very keen to look at it and know more about it.
What's Z?
Z is a fuel station that's here. It's a big major fuel station where you get your petrol and whatnot from. And already we've approached the likes of New World, which the article was saying that we didn't, but that's a downright lie because he gave us his, Eric Rush, who's the owner of New World in Kaikohe. I actually had a rep go to him and invite him to the business dinner event, and he also came down to the launch down at Waitangi, and I think he was just sort of, you know, getting a feel of it. But I'll tell you what, when Eric Rush walked past us at our launch on Waitangi Day, he had this big smile from ear to ear, and you could see the look in his face that he was just totally blown away by the amount of crowd swells that had already showed up before we even opened.
By the way, anybody that is watching this, let me just put it out there just so we can let it be public right now. Kiri's PayPal is Kiri, Kiri, at Credit Exchange, but just xchange.org. So creditexchange.org. And it's also on the screen, Biggie said. So perfect. Everybody's got it. Awesome.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
Now,
And the Biggie's got it streaming across the screen, so anyone should be able to watch it.
Because the more people that get involved with this, the faster this is going to happen for everyone.
I'll be sending you a little bit right now, Kiri, right after we're done.
Oh, thanks, BK.
and there'll be no need for PayPal donations anymore.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Okay, question. Someone signs up as an individual.
Yeah.
And then has a project that they want to do, so they also want to do an organization. Do they have to do it as a whole new application? Is it a new process? Do they just get an extra card added to their account?
Yeah, so what they need to do is we've set it up so that as an individual, you run all your private stuff with a blue card. So all your private spending and everything is all operated out of your blue card. Now, if you've got a business or a project, you can also apply in conjunction with your blue card for a black card or a gold card. So there's nothing there stopping you from having a personal card and a business card, or a personal card and an organisation card, or perhaps just the business card. It's up to you. You decide. People need to decide what cards they want based on what services they're actually providing.
Cool. Kiri, I know you don't want any praise, but for crying out loud, thank you.
Thank you.
Initiative and following your heart and doing this for the good of all. I mean, you're very humble about it, and I appreciate that about you, but you deserve thanks and gratitude for what you've been through, and to be a mother, and to be able to pull this off with a huge family. You know, I struggle keeping myself alive, and it's just me, you know. So
thank you, Brian. I accept that. I accept that. And you know, since I've moved up north, we're actually in abundance here. So I have food that's growing all around my house. Down the bottom, my landlords who I rent the property from, there's a whole garden down there. And I mean, like, it's massive. There's bananas, there's all the fruit, there's honey. We've also got like a little wharenui that walks out straight out onto the out onto the ocean, and there's seafood there. There's sheep down there. There's eels. There's all sorts. So we're swimming in a sea of abundance here. So we're not lacking anything. We've got food at our fingertips like you wouldn't believe, which means we don't have to put so much money into these supermarkets that are poisoning us. And now we can repurpose the supermarkets and allow more organic stuff and more real stuff, and get rid of that GMO and that modified stuff.
Okay, I got a couple of questions I want to get in there before you
Monsanto is shooting your pants right now.
Yeah, Monsanto. There was a comment, somebody noticed that photo ID is required.
Yeah, well, that will all be updated.
It's no longer required, or
it'll all be updated because do you remember I told you before we looked at the IRD number? Mm-hmm. So one of those things I looked at was, can we remove that? One of the reasons why we had it in there was because I didn't want to provide the government with a window in to come in and shut us down on those little technicalities. So what I've done is I've aligned the system so that it can meet all those demands and rebut all those things while we're building it on this side of the fence. But when it comes to ID, what I have put in place, which we're going to be activating this week, is that when you apply for your card and your card gets sent out to you, you're going to get your welcome letter. And in that welcome letter, it's going to be attached with another letter, and it's just going to be the Credit Exchange Identity Confirmation. So you'll need to fill that out and make a declaration, and that for us is sufficient. Rather than taking these government IDs that are fraudulent anyway and plugging them into the system, we've set up our own, which we'll be activating this week. So people don't have to worry about it. Let's say they've got given all that stuff back to the government, that's fine. Fill out the Credit Exchange Identity Confirmation, do the declaration to declare that that's who you are, and that will work.
Okay, so really, I mean, I'm already jumping ahead of myself, I know, but once the basic exchange system is up and running,
yeah,
I can see this expanding to being replacing your forms of ID. People will just
they won't want them anymore.
I am not the name. I'm not the legal name thing. Will just go through and carrying your own forms of identification.
Yeah.
And then I see passports. Passports and getting rid of borders. Okay. There was another question though. It wasn't in the chat room. It was from me, and now I can't remember it. So Brian, you had something.
No, well, Kiri, while we were waiting for you to come back on, we talked about, Dee posed the idea of immediately following up and doing another show before the end of the week, if possible. And that way people can have a chance to check out the website, formulate questions, and we can take callers at that point. So maybe sometime toward the end of the week, we can do a follow-up and go at it again.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And hello, everyone there that's walking around.
Some visitors coming in.
Yeah.
So this is
your place.
This is Wellesi. He makes he's a part of my board that I nominated to come in and assist with this. Also, I needed a good team around me that would oversee my work. To make sure that my work was intact and it wasn't just one set of eyes looking at it. We could now look at it from all different angles and perspectives to be able to identify if this was the correct process to move forward or not. And this is our good friend George.
Hello.
Hi, George.
How you doing?
Through George, we were able to find one of our other fantastic board members, Jeff, which at some stage I'd like to get back online, and I'd like to be able to present those people to you so that the whole world knows exactly the faces behind this.
Oh, that was the question I had for you. Is there anything that people can go to the website and download as information material that they can start having those conversations with others?
Yep.
They can have the conversations with their businesses, leave them some flyers, that sort of thing.
Yeah, you can go onto the website and you can go to our About Us page. All the information is all in that About Us page. Not only that, we've got a Facebook page called Credit Exchange Communities on Facebook. All the information, all the updates and all the links to the websites is all available there. I've also put some diagrams up for the communities, to show the community how they can take these systems and make it work in their community. So you only need to go to our website to the About Us or go to our Facebook page.
Another thing to consider before our next show is put together a list of all of the, or some of the skill sets that you could use from a volunteer standpoint.
Yep.
You know, the people that like to create the videos,
yeah.
the people that are really good at writing the articles. I mean, remember how big when the OPPT came out? I had a OPPT ground crew email that just swelled with people that just wanted to help out in any way. And I think that that's what we're going to have here also. So why not take advantage of the, for lack of human resources, and people's energy? And, you know, I already know Jorge, he's going to be all over wanting to create a video. Yeah. So the more material that we could put out from the re-education standpoint and to kind of baby step people in, the faster it'll really kind of take root. So consider that before our next show.
Thank you, Brian. Yep. And I'll take you up on that offer, because that's what I need. Is I just now need the experts among us to come in and pick up their piece of the puzzle and place it into the picture.
Okay, another question for you, Kiri. Someone's noticed the website was registered 2 weeks ago and it's only for 1 year.
That domain name was registered 2 weeks ago, but we also have various domain names, and I wouldn't let that deter anything. It sort of doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not an issue at all. It's minor.
Jorge just sent me a Skype and he said, "Oh yeah, something along the lines I'm in."
Nice, Jorge.
And I think I've had about 6 messages from people who want to move to New Zealand. So.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to know that they like Canadians, because I'm seriously, you know.
We love the Canadians. We love you all. Bring the Indigenous nations too, because this is for them.
I have some contacts, and I've actually been manically typing into Skype going, no, you need to call me right now, because this is seriously huge. So I have some contacts that I'm going to put in touch, and we're going to cross over, I think, here, very much so. And as soon as I get a hold of them, I will contact you, Kiri.
New Earth Nation.
We're gonna launch some embassies here in New Zealand for any of those Indigenous nations that want to come to New Zealand. So we've already started laying the foundations to set up a separate, I suppose, an Indigenous state, and then set up our embassies within that. So no mai, haere mai.
Nice.
Okay, Biggie, I don't know how we're going for time. Do we have another live show planned?
How long will it take to dub this to YouTube, Biggie, so we can start sharing?
I'm watching and waiting for him to respond.
Yeah. Do we want more time? Well, is there anything else you want to go over today, Kiri, or would you like to wait until we do a follow-up show later in the week?
Yeah, I'd like to wait until we do a follow-up, purely because I'd like to come back with those videos so that people can see the swipe in action. Because that, to me, will drive it home.
When is that happening again?
And it'll wipe out any mainstream media attacks on us, because the proof is in the pudding.
Okay. So when are you planning on getting those done?
They're going to be done this week. So I was actually meant to be over in Kaikohe formulating that at 10 o'clock. So I sort of allowed myself a 2-hour window, but I actually knew we were going to go well over time, because I understand how big this is. So I did drop a link to say, I'm running late. Don't worry, I'm coming.
Well,
what we've got is we've got these merchant forms. So the proposal that we put out was for any major retailers to come and put the credit exchange systems to the test, and we'll open up $1,000 per retailer and allow any random customer to come in and pay for their gas, buy their shopping, get something from Bunnings or whoever decides those 5 major retailers that they want to get on board. Just allow random customers to go and swipe the card so that they can see for themselves that this is no scam.
Kiri, how would you like to do live streaming through CCN?
Yes.
Of the swiping?
Oh, that would be great. That would be great.
All you guys need is a smartphone with Wi-Fi access and download the Zoom app, and Biggie can live stream the swipes on CCN.
Huge.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
We'll talk
I'll
after
organise my camera crew, because I actually have a camera crew who is going to come in and record the whole event. So I'll organise that through them for them to manage that. Absolutely. And I think that'll be great if we could do a live stream.
Oh, yeah.
Great idea, Biggie.
You can't stop it if it's going out live stream. I'd like to see them stop that video on YouTube.
It's called Operation Snowball Effect.
Exactly.
So once again, thank you, Susan. You played your part, Susan, really well.
Well, it's been an amazing show, and it's been awesome to see your face.
Yeah, lovely to catch up with you guys again too.
Yeah.
But this is just the beginning.
Yeah. Yet another one. Excuse me. All right. Please share the show far and wide. Everybody who's listening. As soon as we can organise a follow-up, we will. But watching and listening to this show will be it's almost mandatory for that follow-up. Go over it again. Go over that website. Compile your questions, your comments, concerns, whatever you have, and we will get back to it as quickly as we can towards the end of the week. And see everybody in New Zealand, I guess.
I actually look forward to the team landing in New Zealand. We'll come and pick you up on our Credit Exchange mobile cars. They look hot. They look really, really hot too. People go.
Tourism is going to love this. Yeah, you just boosted New Zealand demand. Nice work, Mary, all the way around. You're awesome. Thank you to all the guys in the background hanging out over there. You guys are awesome too. And to all your kids for hanging in there with you and supporting you, and everybody over there. You guys are all awesome, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Yep, especially big hugs to the kids.
Yeah.
Because if there's one thing that us parents know about is the sacrifices the little ones make so that mummies and daddies can get their work done.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and they've, they've been dragged through a lot, but yet they are still the shining little beacons that they were when we first started this. And in fact, I'll tell you what's happened with the children is that they've been with me right from start. And my little 7-year-old said to me, Mum, I know when this all started happening. It was when we went and got those cars. And I said, yes, that's right. And he says, so are we winning the fight against the police? And I says, absolutely, because I almost certain that the police are going to want to jump on board too, especially those that are unhappy in that system. And so they were really excited. So they've actually been with me right from the beginning, and they've been witnessing the changes. And now for them to be able to come to the launch, see the mobile car, see everything that their mum talked about, that we were creating, and then to be able to physically manifest that, and for them to be a witness to all of that has raised them up to a whole new level. So they're really quite the luckiest kids on this planet.
Okay, Biggie, we're over and out. So
love you guys.
Well done, girl. I just don't know. I mean, words just can't express that.
This is going to be an exciting ride, everyone.
Let's get ready to rock and roll then.
See what we can do with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We